It's been 3 days since it happened. 3 days since the screaming stopped. I haven't slept. Every time I close my eyes, I see him. I see that smile. The authorities have a name for him now. They're calling him the Ravager. But I knew him. We all did. His real name was Charlie West. And we're the ones who created the monster. It all started back in middle school, here in Havenwood. Havenwood sounds peaceful, right? It wasn't. Not for Charlie. He was different. Quiet, kept to himself, always sketching in a tattered notebook. And for that, he became a target. For me, for Mark, for Sarah, for David, for all of us. We were relentless. We called him Charcoal Charlie because of his love for drawing. It was a stupid, childish name, but it was the least of what we did. The real turning point was the incident at the old chemical plant. We'd dared him. Told him he was a coward if he didn't go into the restricted area. He just wanted to be accepted, you know. He just wanted us to stop. So he went. I still hear the explosion in my nightmares. The shattering glass, the alarms blaring. We ran. We left him there. We told everyone he'd snuck in on his own, that he was a troubled kid. They believed us. They found him, barely alive. The chemicals. They did something awful to his face. The doctors did what they could, but it was a ruin. When he came back to school, bandaged and broken, we were even crueler. We couldn't look at what we'd done, so we lashed out. We made his life a living hell until his family finally moved away, trying to escape the whispers in the stairs. We grew up. We forgot. Or we tried to. We built lives here, in the very town where we destroyed his. I have a family. Mark became a cop. Sarah, a teacher. David owned the local diner. We were pillars of the community. We had buried our secret deep. But secrets don't stay buried in Havenwood. Last week it started. First, it was David. His body was found mangled and bent in angles that shouldn't be possible. A pot of coffee still warm on the burner. The only thing out of place was a single, crude charcoal drawing left on the counter. A caricature of a boy with a twisted, horrific smile. My blood ran cold when I saw it on the news. I knew. Then, Mark. I told him that he was back, but he didn't believe me, and to prove me wrong. He said he was going down to the old Havenwood chemical plant to put this all to an end. They found his cruiser by the old chemical plant. The driver's side door was hanging open, and on the seat, Mark's lifeless body, missing his face and eyes, his face contorted in terror. Panic set in. People started locking their doors. But you can't lock out a ghost, especially a ghost you created. 2 nights ago, Sarah called me, hysterical. She said someone was outside her house, just standing in the shadows, watching. She could hear a sound, like metal scraping on stone. I told her to call Mark, forgetting he was already gone. I told her to lock her doors and hide. An hour later, her line went dead. They never found her body, only pools of blood and drag marks with her fingernails left behind. I knew he was coming for me. I was the last one. I barricaded my family in the basement and I waited upstairs, in the dark, with my father's old hunting rifle. Around midnight, I heard it. The slow, rhythmic scrape, 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 of metal on the pavement, getting closer. He didn't bother with the door. I heard glass shatter in the kitchen. Heavy, deliberate footsteps echoed through my home. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the rifle. He was humming. a twisted off-key nursery rhyme from our childhood. Then, he was in the doorway. The years had not been kind, but the chemicals had been crueler. He wore a dark, stained hoodie, the hood pulled low, long, greasy hair obscuring what was left of his face. But you couldn't miss the smile. It wasn't a smile of joy. It was a wound. A grotesque ear-to-ear scar that pulled his lips into a permanent, nightmarish grin. His eyes were wide, unblinking, like two black holes that reflected the porch light. And in his hand, he held this massive, rusted kitchen knife. It looked like he'd been sharpening it on concrete for 20 years. He just stood there, head tilted. "Billy?" he rasped, his voice a dry, grating sound, like stones grinding together. "You're last. I saved you for last. You were the ringleader after all." He took a step, and the rifle in my hands felt like a toy. That smile. It stretched wider, impossibly wide. He wasn't Charlie West anymore. We had killed Charlie in that plant. This was just the Ravager. This was our sin. Come home. I don't know how I'm alive. Maybe he let me live. Maybe he wants me to remember. To tell everyone what happens when you push someone so far they break, and what crawls back from the pieces. He's still out there, and I know, one day, he'll come back to finish the drawing.